Well, back to the podcast. Hi, hello, hi. I was right in case you all were figuring it out, but hi.
Hi, everyone.
Um,
Another Wednesday. We had to skip last Wednesday.
yeah, we had to skip last Wednesday. We were a little busy. Um, but I was correct in what I had told everyone in the previous podcast with the upcoming release of the Epstein files. So, for those who didn't see the last episode or forgot, the Epstein files were subpoenaed by, they had been voted to be subpoenaed by the House, like the hours before they were supposed to go on recess, where Mike Johnson was trying to avoid voting on the Epstein files. They passed the vote, and then the files had to be subpoenaed by, it's supposed to be August 19th, I think it was, whatever that last Tuesday was. Yeah, 19th. And the House Oversight Committee chief said publicly that he figured they're not going to reach that deadline because there's so many documents. And we spoke about how that is probably BS. They're probably just trying to redact as much as they can. So, but there was a statement that was made that they would release some of the documents that Friday, Friday the 22nd. We then speculated that a variety of things. One of the main things that I had said was uh, on that Friday, we're going to get probably publicly available documents or stuff that's already been released. And sure enough, Justice Department sent Congress Epstein files that were already public, Democrats say. The overwhelming majority of the material provided to a key investigative committee in response to a subpoena had already been released. This is from the New York Times. Oh my God. This is from the New York Times, and it was on August 23rd, the day after.
Yep.
So,
You had a vision.
I had a vision. Oh, why does it do that? I gotta fix this now. Um, it was expected. It was expected, right? Like we knew this was going to happen. We knew they're going to stall, and the juiciest parts are not going to come out till at all, possibly at all. But we knew they were going to drag this out. We knew this wasn't going to come out off rip. It would have been phenomenal. I would have been so goddamn happy to see actual real footage or documents or whatever. No, no.
So let me ask you a question. After all of this is done and whatever comes out, do you think that she's going to get a pardon?
Uh, yeah, I am hesitant to say no because I I do think it's in the cards. I really do. They've already put her into a lesser jail with no cameras, and I think because they've put her in a lesser jail with no cameras, I think she's I think she's aware of this, but I think it's going to go out one of two ways. She's either going to get a pardon or she's going to get Epsteined. Um,
Oh, that's a new term. You better
oh,
listen to me or you're going to be Epstein.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I think she's going to get Epsteined or she's going to get pardoned. I don't think there's another option out of there. Um, I think it deeply depends on her willingness to comply with the current president because, like, she recently came out with a statement claiming some egregious thing like Trump is an outstanding gentleman and he's never been involved in that stuff, nor would he ever. And the Clintons are also fine as well. And you're like, all right, so now we know you're lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said the Clintons were okay? Okay, now we know you're lying. They're like, but
Yeah.
it, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. So they released, from what I was reading, I think it was 33,000 documents. Um, I can double check that in a minute.
Well,
But it was
while you're
apparently
checking, you know what they say, smother the documents. In law, when you ask for all the information from the opposing attorney, they'll send you boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff just to hide what's there. you
Right.
got to find it. It's hide and seek, you know.
Yeah. That's well, and that's right. Yeah, it it's just yeah, burying the problem in a mess of other crap, but also they're sending out again. I wasn't able to find the number, but I could have sworn I read earlier today that it was 33,000 documents um worth of stuff, but that may have been an overestimate.
Yeah,
Uh
maybe the dog, they'll give the excuse the dog ate my homework.
yeah, sure. Yeah, then the public will just go, "Oh, you know what? That's fine."
Yeah, I know.
Epstein was released Friday. Let's see. Let's
There's so
see.
many,
Let's
there's so
see.
many more important things in the world right now, and
I'm gonna be honest. It, in my opinion, this is probably a pretty high tier level of importance in my book. I know there's multiple wars going on, and Trump is on the verge of going to war with Venezuela. Mr. No More Wars has is involved with two current ones and is possibly starting a third. I get it. But and we're also on the rise of digital censorship and surveillance with the EU and the UK, with the child safety, online safety acts, and wanting to scan private messages. And America's already doing that with YouTube and now Google. And I get those things, but I also think this is pretty important because
I'm not saying it's that important. I'm just saying that uh, it's like, even though it's important, it's like playing in a poker game and knowing that somebody in their hand has two hidden aces. That's Trump. You know that he'll decide what he wants to decide. He'll sue, or he'll say false information,
yeah,
or
but at the end of the day, my point is it's beyond Trump, right?
I don't
Him,
think so, but
eh,
you
I
do.
when I say it's beyond Trump, I mean first off, he loses more lawsuits than he wins, especially from his last presidency, but specifically in this one. I made actually a whole video about that recently. He loses something last year, last his first term. He lost something like 75 to 80% of his lawsuits. And this term, he's still at a loss of like 65%. So,
Yeah, keep
uh,
suing. You
no,
keep
no,
suing.
he can absolutely keep suing and he can put people in litigation, but he is losing more than he is winning. So
Good.
he's putting bad money after bad because he's bad guy. But my my point is this goes a little beyond Trump in that this was a major crime ring that was going on, a major crime thing.
Yeah.
And the theories that it involves all these different people, it's not just Trump. It's various political leaders, various famous people, various people in power. And that's part of why I think, and why I would argue a lot of people think, that this is such an important thing to know about. Because
It is.
under a theory, right? Let's
Yeah.
say in theory, turns out Trump was completely guilty. He fully participated. Everything we thought was true. And that includes half of his cabinet, and that includes half of the previous president's cabinet, and that includes the last three presidents at minimum, on top of a slew of other like famous people and people in power. That that would cause, in my what I would see happening is a momentary freeze in time where everyone is stunned and we figure out what the hell to do, and then a major collapse of society, or a major portion of society would crumble. Because how do you under the assumption that, let's say, Trump and half of his cabinet, how do you how do you continue to take orders from someone like that? How do you continue to have any respect globally from a man like that, or from a
Well,
cabinet like that?
well,
Found guilty, right? The documents, the evidence that shows.
today, a whole bunch of FEMA people wrote a letter, saying they're quitting. And we also have the problem with him, besides Epstein, with him raising the tariff for India to 50%. And There's a lot of stuff going on that I don't know how any normal man can deal with. I mean,
Well, right.
I don't
It's
know
so
how he sleeps
crazy.
at night. I don't know how he sleeps at night.
Well, he sleeps like a baby because he's probably not even aware of half the stuff he's doing. It's most likely Goebbels over there and Mike Johnson who are propping him up and JD Vance. That he's realistically, genuinely, he is probably not aware of or doing about 60% of what he's actually signing. The
Well, you know what
man
he always,
the man just talks. He just talks and they hand him papers and he signs them.
you know what always happens every time something comes to fruition, like uh, the the Epstein situation, and he does, he doesn't want it to be centralized. He makes another issue that becomes more important or
Correct.
counterpoint to it.
Correct. Yes.
So you just said, "Oh, Venezuela,
He loves
India."
to deflect.
Yeah,
Yes.
you deflects. India right now, I'm giving. I'm what as of today, India has to pay 50% tariff because they're buying, selling. No, they're buying oil from Russia, and that's their punishment.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to, settle the war between Pakistan and India, but that's what I mean. There are so many other things going on, and it's just more and more and more and more. You can't pick up the news and read news anymore.
Well, because, there's a lot of crap going on.
A lot of
This
crap.
is a very, very volatile time for the world.
Yeah.
Not
If
just
I,
America, but
yeah.
America specifically is, from what I understand, because I try and consume a bit of global knowledge, global news from other places. It's not always easy, but from what I understand, almost everyone outside the US is looking at the US like we're a crap load of idiots. They are they're obviously concerned that this turns into something worse, but for the most part, they're looking at this like it's like a child throwing a tantrum. They're looking at this like it's the dumbest thing on the planet, and that the country is going to crap. They recently the what was it, South Korean leader was visiting the White House, and he made what was very clearly a joke towards Trump. He was saying something to the effect of like, yeah, you can like walk around our cities and do something. I forget. I'm very, very poorly misquoting this, but he was basically double speaking. He was complimenting him and saying something that he could go and do, when in reality it was a very specific choice of words to mock Trump because he can't do those things and he can't do them in his own country because he's a poor leader. So, um, people are mistreating him in the country and so on and so forth. Um, but anyways, the circling it back, if we find out that Trump and half his administration is involved, how you, how do you? There are people in the Midwest that are getting arrested because they're making death threats, saying anyone who's involved is going to get A, B, C, D done to them if I ever find out. And it's like that's one of the core values of the right, the rights, the MAGA's um, personality is we call them PDF files because we don't know if we can. I don't always know if you can say that on the internet, but it's the child touchers, right? That's one of the core things that they love to spew is that queer people, trans people are PDF files, and the left is PDF files, and they're bad people. PDF files are bad people. We do not like PDF files. Um, Meanwhile, at least once a week, some type of Republican or priest comes out as a PDF file. But that's one of their big things. So if their single leader comes out to be part of this big pedophile thing, that I, I don't I don't know how they're going to react. I don't know how. I don't know. I'd be interested to see because I'd love to see if these people, put their money where their mouth is. But like I
Uh,
I don't know how you progress from that, especially, and I think that's part of why it's such a massive effort to not release those documents and redact as much as possible, because it would seriously cause some damage to society to find out who, what, where, and when, and to what degree.
yeah.
Uh,
Down here, they say, look at all the charges for other things that were against him. Nothing happened.
oh,
Same thing, nothing's going to happen here.
well, see,
So
that's the difference, though. That was through the law. If the country were to find out what's going on, I don't think the law matters. I don't think the law would matter at that point, but I'm not sure. I'm not advocating for that. I'm saying I think the reaction would be quite rebellious. So,
I don't know. My money is that he's going to walk away smelling like a flower.
because he's dead?
No, because I don't think they're going to, no, nothing's going to touch him. He's untouchable, I think.
I disagree. I think,
That's why we have these conversations.
yeah, I know. I think if he was untouchable, he wouldn't be going to such lengths to not have the information brought out. Right. The months that he spent getting angry at reporters saying, don't talk about it, and kicking them out of the press room so that they don't talk about it and so that there's no questions about it, and deflecting and doing these other forms of physical deflections, like we said, with um, military action, right? He's gerrymandering, and now he's putting troops in 19 different states. It's all deflection. It's all things to get you to focus on other things, so that he can pass laws that people aren't paying attention to, or air executive orders, right? Um,
His stormtroopers.
right. And so I I think if he was truly untouchable, he wouldn't be doing these things, right? It's the same as people who are saying, "Oh, he's a dictator." It's like we can mutually agree, for anyone who is intelligent and knows history, that we are not in a democracy anymore. This is something beyond that. A lot of the things he has done so far are very, very much aligned with authoritarianism and dictatorship.
I agree.
Does that make him, a Hitler 2.0? No. Does, but does that remove this the idea that America is a democracy right now? Yeah, I don't consider we are in a democracy at this point. I consider us to be in a transitionary period towards authoritarianism, because he's done a variety of things that align with that. Um,
The key down here is people say, look how many wars he stopped.
he didn't stop any wars. He stopped no wars. He's actually he's on the verge of starting one, and
And, and he came, didn't he come out and say he's a hero?
yeah, he tried to say that he's a war hero despite Bone Spurs over there avoiding being drafted. So,
Well,
he
well,
unfortunately, this is an era of anti-intellectualism. There's too many people who do not value scientific research and evidence and facts anymore, because they've fallen too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole that everything's a lie, and if everything's a lie, then nothing's real, except for what Grandmaster leader Trump says, and they just don't want to believe anything else other than that, because either one, they're too stupid, or two, they have other motives, like they are genuinely a racist person or want harm on certain people, and they are simply using Trump and his choices as a scapegoat to further that motive. Um, but the facts remain that this parallels authoritarianism and the dictatorship, and um, though we are not fully and 100% there yet, there are various decisions that are being made in that nature, right? Like the recently announced he's going to be putting troops in 19 different states. The troops that are in DC right now technically are there legally. He hasn't done anything illegal. He hasn't. That's why so many people are yelling at the troops, being like, "Know your oath, know your oath." He's technically not doing anything illegal. That's why it's important for people who are paying attention to this type of news not to panic, not to get super, not to lose your head. breathe, drink some water, and read the facts. What he is doing right now in DC is, for the most part, still legal. Still legal. It's under certain codes and laws, and it's only temporary, right? It's the same thing that he did in LA. People said it's a dictator. Yeah, it parallels that in visuals, but what was occurring was still legal. So until he is actually breaking the laws in those ways, it's not really a thing to panic about. It's something we need to be aware of. It's something that people need to protest. It's something that people need to discuss and bring to light, but it's not illegal yet. Yet.
Do you think in 2025 we're going to get a an answer?
For Epstein?
Yeah.
No. Hell no. Absolutely not. Unless someone leaks the files. Unless someone leaks the files, I expect this to at least hold on. At least from the files. At least from the files, I expect to get all the files. Um it actually, hold on. I'm gonna reword this. If we get all of the files before the end of the year, it is going to be thousands of pages of just pure black redacted information. They're not like it's going to be a mess. I assume it won't be, and we'll probably get some going into the new year. And again, it's just going to be redacted information. That being said, I saw an article recently where Epstein's survivors are planning to hold a news conference on September 3rd. So they are, let me see if I can find. For the first time, many will speak publicly about what happened and demand the release of the Epstein files. I'll share it to the screen
Oh,
here.
so they are going to say what happened?
So this is from Snopes, the fact-checking website. Yes, Epstein survivors will plan to hold a news conference on September 3rd. Here's what to know. In August 2025, a claim spread online that survivors of abuse of Jeffrey Epstein plan to hold a news conference on September 3rd in Washington, D.C. The rumor circulated and several posts claimed it. Breaking: Epstein will hold a press conference on Capitol Hill. Epstein survivors, for the first time, many will speak publicly about what happened and demand the release. As of this writing, survivors by Epstein uh, and Ghislaine Maxwell, in fact, planning to hold a news conference on September 3rd. And it was first announced in August 11th social media posts. Though these two congressmen said that they would speak at the event about their co-sponsor bill to release the so-called Epstein files. One of the lawyers representing the survivors confirmed the accuracy of the congressman's posts via August 26th email to Snopes. Thus, we've rated this claim true. According
Wow.
to the two lawmakers' posts, they will hold the news conference at 10:30 in the morning in the House Triangle, a location outside the U.S. Capitol, often used for these sorts of events. Massey's post said several of the survivors will be speaking out for the first time. So,
I wonder if there's going to be a problem.
you can absolutely expect Trump to cause some type of deflection, right? Some massive thing, right? Troops are gonna arrest someone for picking their nose in the street or whatever, right? It that he 100%, 100%, there's gonna be some type of misdirection to focus on. Um, a good one to talk about actually right now briefly is I don't know if you saw, he made an executive order claiming that it's now illegal to burn flags.
Yeah.
And he's citing a
I thought it was illegal to burn a flag.
no, it's part of your free speech. You're allowed to burn a flag because it's part of your free speech. We are not in China. We are not in North Korea. You do not have to do what he says in that regard. It's your property. Despite what the flag may mean, you have free speech. You are allowed to burn a flag. That's the whole point. That's part of that burning being able to burn a flag is the essence of America. That's literally the essence of America. And you may
Yeah.
not like it, but that's the foundation of it. That being said, Texas passed a law recently that you can't burn Israeli flags, uh, specifically Israeli flags, not American flags. And Trump is citing that case um, to make this executive order. Now,
Can you parallel one thing with another? It's
well,
ridiculous.
it's often a thing in law that like
It's a
when
precedent.
what
He's citing that as a precedent.
Yeah, he's citing that as a because we can outlaw burning Israeli flags, let's outlaw burning American flags because this was proven in court, so we can prove this one in court. It's kind of like when Roe v. Wade got turned over for abortion rights. People and law firms were citing the overturn of Roe v. Wade to try and overturn other things regarding women's rights and women's health and queer people's rights and queer people's health. So you cite those things because you say, well, if this got overturned or this didn't work, then this should too. And you argue it in court. His executive order was that you would be stuck, you'd be sent to jail for a year, no shortened time, no nothing. You would just be sent straight for a year for burning a flag.
Good.
Executive order.
You don't like that because you say it's free speech, but I say good.
Yeah, that's a violation of free speech. There's
I
no
don't
there's no
like
reason to send
good.
someone to jail for burning a flag.
I say
Um,
good.
and so first off, it means nothing. His executive order means nothing. It
Yeah.
it it is it's not legal. He can't make law through executive order, and that's something that a lot of people need to realize. There was a video recently of a guy, a veteran, who burned a flag in the middle of the street because he was protesting this exact law. Cops arrested him. He was there for 3, 4 hours and was not charged with burning a flag. He was released. And what he was charged with was like a small misdemeanor or something of like lighting a fire in a public area. And
Hmm.
that's what they do. That's how they get you because unless Congress makes it a law,
Yeah.
it's just an executive order. It's just words for the bureaucracy under him to follow. But it means nothing for the common person who has actual laws behind them.
You see, to
So
me,
but recognize that to make the illusion that it's illegal, they will arrest and they will book anyone who burns a flag now. But they're going to get released and they're only going to be charged with tertiary problems, right? It's
yeah,
like when a
I guess
it's like when a cop it's like right, it's like when a cop will pull you over or walk by you in the street over probable cause and arrest you for something that he wasn't intending to initially. Same thing. Same thing. And so that will feed the illusion that it's now illegal. But circling it back to, right, he's still doing things by the book. He's still doing things with laws. That's not a dictatorship. That he's doing things that are aligning with dictators. But this is an example where people who aren't reading into it are going to go, he's removing our freedom of speech. This is a dictator. And it's like, well, he's trying to, but what he's currently doing is cosplaying a dictator and feigning a dictator and then charging you with these other things. And he's failing behind the curtain.
you
So,
see, ever since I was a little boy, I remember going to public school, and it was an honor to pull the string and have the flag, American flag, go up the pole. And then the other honor was to remember before when school was over to take it down because in case there was inclement weather, or if there was inclement weather, to take it down because you didn't want anything to happen to the American flag.
yeah.
And I know, being somebody who's been around a long time already, 81 years, I've seen people burn the flags, and I I'm very surprised. I always
So,
thought,
so
thank
let
you
me ask
for
then.
telling
Lem-
me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I've seen people burn the flags, and it irritated me because I thought of all the people, yeah, all the soldiers who risked their lives defending our country. And although our American flag is symbolic of our country, I thought there would be other ways not to disrespect the soldiers that went to war, because that's the way I interpreted it. But
Well, right, but that's your interpretation. That's
yes,
why it's important to recognize that. The it, to some people, it's just the flag of this country. To some people, it's a representation of all the people who've died, and to some people, it's a representation of something else, another form of political ideology. Um, but I'll ask you this: do you think any form of desecration of the flag should put people in jail?
yes,
Okay, so then you believe Trump should be in jail for signing flags. He signed his name on many flags. There's video footage of him signing his name on flags.
yes,
And that also includes MAGA who have made uh, suits out of flags and put Trump's face over American flags. And
yes,
also Trump, I believe, is recently started selling pickleball paddles with the American flag on it.
yes,
So they should all be in jail.
yes.
Okay. All right. I just
Hey,
just
you see, you have to understand something.
just checking to make sure you're consistent. That's all. That's all. I respect it. No, I respect it. I get it. That makes sense. I'm only asking just to check for consistency because there are people where I would ask that question to where they'll say, "Yeah, throw them in jail for burning the flag," but would say, "No, it's okay that Trump
It's a
signed
matter
his
of
name on flags."
it's a matter of respect. I mean, it's something like it's something that meant so much to me when I was younger, and as I got older, and like I said before, it was always drilled into me. I've seen us go from 48 to 50 states and more stars on the
Yeah,
flag. I was
I get
excited,
it.
so the flag always meant something to me. And now that we're going to make Greenland the 51st state. No, I'm joking, but I just a thought, Peter, because I know I have a doctor's appointment, but um, how is it different from the United States saying we are taking over Greenland as compared to Russia taking over Ukraine?
There's not really a ton of a difference. And I'll keep this short because we also only have about 2 minutes before this thing cuts
Yeah,
off,
because then we'll have to cut the
and you have to
podcast.
go as well. But
Yeah,
I mean, I think this turns into a much deeper conversation. But if you look at America and you historically you look at them and politically you look at them, we're an imperialistic country. We have never been. Um, we have always had aspects of Russia or these other people who are trying to divide and conquer and consume, right? We destabilize countries, we take their resources, and we then get cheap, free labor and resources that we then use to sell products in America. And we then sell it back to them by saying, "Oh, well, we'll import from you." We were the ones that destabilized the country to begin with. So the parallels between America wanting to take Greenland and Russia taking Ukraine uh, boil down to personal issues, i.e., Russia, Ukraine being so close and having desires and so forth that they want that land. Trump wanting Greenland probably just for golf courses. Um, or no, that's Iceland. Um, but not my point still stands. America's an imperialistic country, so it means almost nothing to compare the two because Russia's trying to consume Ukraine and America wants to consume Greenland this time, and in 2 3 years it'll be another country, right? They do it all the time. They do it all the time. It's a mess, and I don't see too much of a difference when you sort of take a step back and look at the big picture.
and you know what makes me laugh? We won't give statehood to Puerto Rico.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. We can't do that because that create if we do, then that means you're giving them equal rights, and then they'll have to fight, and then they get to fight for their rights in a way that they can't right now. So, yeah, absolutely. That's cheap free labor.
Yeah.
So, with that
So
being said, September 3rd, you've got the survivors talking about Epstein. We will talk about that when we get a chance to. See if anything
Okay.
interesting comes out.
Yep. Everybody be well. I got to go to a doctor's appointment.
All right, everyone. Peace out.
Peace out.